Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel and good morning. It's nice to see you at this beautiful hour. The sun is shining and another day has begun at Celtic Football Club ahead of our game tonight, in fact, against Aberdeen. But until then, we have some news to fill the gap. A wee mini edition of Celtic transfer talk, actually, because Celtic have been linked with an English Championship talent over the past 24 hours, which looks like there's something in it. To say the least. So let's look at that today, shall we? If you haven't already, please make sure to hit like and subscribe. It would be much appreciated. We are under 700 subscribers away from the big 50k landmark. So please go down there, hit both of those buttons. It's absolutely free. I want to try and get this one over and done with today because it's Wednesday morning. I'm pretty sure that most people have normal life to go on with, whether it be work, school, uni, whatever. Yeah, so I don't want to keep you here too long. Now, as I was editing my video, which was going live yesterday evening, I was blissfully unaware that Stephen McGowan had published this article while I was doing so in regards to a championship winger by the name of Tyrese Dolan that Celtic and Rangers are looking at. And it was a name that I had heard before, and I quickly started to see people in my comments section asking, is there any truth in the Tyrie Stolen story? Have you heard the Tyrese Dolan story? And when I googled his name and I seen this, I was not too surprised. It was a name that I heard quietly bubbling away in the January window, but I didn't think there was anything really in it. I knew that his contract was meant to be expiring at the end of this season, still thought there was nothing in it, and then bang, Stephen McGowan drops this story. So Celtic and Rangers both apparently monitoring standout championship winger. As we all know, Stephen McGowan, one of, if not the top journalist when it comes to Celtic exclusives. He went on to say that both Celtic and Rangers are monitoring the situation of Blackburn winger Tyrise Dolan. Out of contract this summer, the 23-year-old was on a list of Parkhead attacking options before the signing of Jota in the January window. And obviously with Jota now going out with surgery, which can keep him out until as late as New Year, Brendan Rodgers will be looking to strengthen attacking areas in the summer. Could it be this man? So apparently both Celtic and Rangers looking at the player. Usually that for me is a massive red flag when it comes to transfer rumours, because it always just feels like an agent trying to get one of the two sides to come in and make an offer, try and get them a big move, a decent wage. But I'll give it a buy on this occasion because of course it is Stephen McGowan who's quite reliable. But I know what people are saying straight away. Is there truth in this? Do you think this will happen? All he has said here in this article, all Stephen McGowan has said is that Celtic are monitoring the situation, which is pretty typical in a situation like this. Think about it. Somebody who has quietly been linked with Celtic before, somebody who is out of contract at the end of the season, and somebody who has had a pretty good year for Blackburn. Of course Celtic are going to be monitoring his situation. If there's a bargain to be had here, then you would expect Peter Lawwell and co to be over it like a dog on beetroot. So this doesn't surprise me, and I do think there is definitely truth in it. It might not be a player who gets you overly excited, but at the end of the day, if we're going to look through it in this video, he's somebody who's certainly talented and one who could be a decent addition to the Celtic side. Now, of course, the difference between Celtic and Rangers at the moment is that Rangers don't have a permanent manager yet. We're of course hearing about this Ancelotti who might be coming in. Rangers have obviously yet to complete their takeover, so we don't know what their stance is with signing players yet. Whereas Celtic, it's business as usual for us. So if both teams are looking at him seriously, then you'd think naturally Celtic have, at this moment in time anyway, a slight advantage. Plus, it's just a much more attractive place to go at the minute, and I say that with all bias aside. So yeah, an interesting one. So Dolan has not committed his future to Blackburn. In fact, it's been pretty much widely accepted by the club and Blackburn fans that Tyrese Dolan will move on in this transfer window, which means he is available for free. And this is where the club would see a massive bargain if Blackburn's valuation of the player is anything to go by in regards to his actual quality, because apparently he is valued between the £5 and £10 million mark. Transfer marked have him, and I think it's something like £6 million. So to pick up a player who a club value at 5 to 10 million, who others might value in that range as well, for potentially free or at most a compensation fee of around £500,000. That would be pretty good. That would be pretty smart from Celtic, and it would plug the gap of Jota's absence. I think what we've got to remember here when it comes to the summer transfer window, and particularly on the wings, is that Celtic are really strong in the winger department right now. Maida, Kuhn and Jota. And when it comes to first team depth, all we need is some better players or improvements on the likes of Luis Palma and the likes of James Forrest, who's entering the last year of his Celtic career. So right now, Celtic not needing to go out and break bank straight away, I think Tyrie Stolen could be a smart bit of business. And I know what people are saying, Ryan, how can it be smart business? It's the cheap option again. The board are being lazy. The board are going out their way to penny pinch as per usual. But it's easy to say that when you hear free transfer, but it's a free transfer for very different reasons. It's because he hasn't committed his future to Blackburn, probably because he knows he's ready for the next step of his career. He's only 23 years of age, and when you look at the season he's enjoyed in the Championship, Blackburn, who were close to playoff football this season, or somewhat close to playoff football, 7 goals and 6 assists. It doesn't scream unbelievable, but when you consider the amount of football there is and things like that, it's a pretty solid campaign for the Championship to come up with 13 goal contributions in that 44-game season for him. That's pretty solid. And when you look up his name and when you search on Twitter about him, Blackburn fans are gutted to lose him. In fact, he's been praised as one of the players who has done a better job than some of the players who I've seen quote-unquote have down tools this year. So certainly somebody with talent and space to grow. He's a product of the Manchester City Academy, I believe. Went on to Preston, now at Blackburn. I don't think this is by any means a fantastic world beater of a player who's ready to come in and take Dyson Maida's spot on the left wing or Nicholas Kuhn's spot on the right wing. But what I certainly do think is somebody who presents a decent option when it comes to depth. And I think Celtic could do a lot worse. And it would allow us to put money into other areas of the squad that need improved. The player is apparently also attracting interest from abroad, so it's just a case of seeing where this goes, where it grows. As I said earlier in the video, this by no means is suggesting, or Stephen McGowan suggesting at least, that Celtic are about to sign Tyrie Stolen or he's a top target. We are only monitoring the situation. That is very minimal information and shows that Celtic are at a very minimal stage with tracking the player. I don't think it's anything to get too over our heads in about just now. I think it's one that will bubble away and we'll see what happens in the next few weeks. I also don't think it's one that Celtic need to bend over backwards to make happen. I think that we're going to have plenty of options when it comes to wingers this window. We've already, of course, spoke about the likes of Misha Analog, Balak, but it's somebody who we could certainly keep an eye on. And I said this in a video, I believe, last week or on a stream last week. If Celtic go into the next season still with Kuhn and Maida at the club, I mean, cross our fingers and hope that happens. If we go into the season with those two as our first choice starting wingers, and then you go in with Jota being a backup to Maida, potentially Dolan as the backup to Kuhn, and then maybe another winger that can cover both flanks as a safety option, I think we're fine. I think the wings would be fantastic. If that's Balak, Wisha or whoever, I think that could look really, really good. So, yeah, I don't think it's one we need to get too carried away in about just now, but it once again reiterates the point that Celtic are looking at winger options. Talking about Misha Analog, Balak, to finish off today's video, we should talk about him ever so slightly because he has been spotted maybe giving Celtic fans a little hint about his future. All credit to Noah on Twitter with this one. I seen this earlier on, thought we would talk about it. He was spotted liking a comment in relation to Celtic on his Instagram, as you can see here, a Celtic page, putting down the 4-leaf clover, putting down the eyes emoji. It was liked by Misha Analog, Balak. Now, he has pretty much been out there alongside Antwerp as well as a club to say that he will probably move on in this window. Is this a sign? Is this a sign, or is it just him having a little bit of fun? once again, similar to the Tyrie Stolen stuff, I don't think there's a point in reading into things too much as of now, but we've heard his name linked with the club for coming up a year now. He looks like a seriously decent football player. I would like to see this one happen if possible, and hopefully this is a hint about his future. Right then, there you go. That does us for today. Well, for now, because I'll be back on the channel tonight to do our match reaction to Aberdeen against Celtic. So hopefully we get the job done in Pittodrie, the penultimate game of the Premiership season, before we take it home and lift number 55 on Saturday. So until then, tonight I should say, take care of yourself. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and I'll see you all next time.